There was a time, and it actually wasn't that long ago, when PUBG was the only game I ever wanted to play. My friends and I would play a handful of matches a night, just about every single night, and we never really got tired of it. Every game felt unique, and some of the moments we had will likely never be forgotten. It seemed like we would play PUBG forever. Then something changed. All of a sudden, I wasn't excited to play PUBG anymore. I started dreading the invite to a party, and I'd even hope my friends wouldn't be on at times because I just flat out didn't want to play the game. PUBG, and my excitement for it, was over. Now before I really get started here, I want to clarify something. PUBG is not dead. PUBG is not even in trouble, and PUBG will likely never die unless the servers get shut down due to some kind of natural disaster, World War III destroys the planet, or PUBG 2 is developed. And what's pretty sad about those three options, I don't know which of them is more likely to happen. I was a day one adopter of PUBG on Xbox. My anticipation for the game knew no bounds. I tried convincing my friend to play for weeks and finally forced him to game share with me so that I could just have a teammate. I was so addicted to the game I began making content for it on YouTube. Even though I was never an elite player, I was okay with that. I scraped together some wins here and there, and that was enough for me. I never really chased the high kill matches. It was all about survival and getting that sweet chicken dinner. The game was incredible. That being said, PUBG ran like absolute ass on Xbox, even on the Xbox One X. From the start, PUBG was plagued with constant crashing, abysmal frame drops, and awful textures, but it didn't matter. This was the game I've been waiting my whole life for. It had a very simple concept: last man standing wins, a formula you would think would get repetitive over time, but it didn't. Each match had its own story, its own troubles and fortunes, and each win was memorable. I played and covered PUBG on YouTube religiously for over 2 years. Every update, every leak, and every rumor, I was there and I loved it. But sometime during Season 6, things began to change. Up to that point, yeah, there were frustrating updates that made the game a worse experience overall, updates that flat out broke the game, more crashing, lost connection to host errors, and cheaters everywhere. But it wasn't until Season 6 and some absolutely terrible decisions that came through from PUBG Corp that I started to dread playing PUBG. Update 6.3 changed some things that really made me question PUBG's decision making. It took the M249 from the care package and made it a pretty common world loot drop. The most fun and terrifying gun to use in the game was suddenly everywhere. Damn near every final circle in Update 6.3 had an M249 in it. The game was broken and it felt cheapened. It was now less about skill and decision making and more about having a big ass gun. Along with this awful change, they also removed Miramar from the queue earlier on in Season 6. And remember, in Season 6 they took out Vikendi, so my two favorite maps to play in the game just weren't there. Needless to say, the frustration was building. To resolve the issue of the M249 being everywhere and being way too powerful, PUBG had the bright idea just to make the gun useless instead. Sure, it still had a massive amount of ammo, but it kicked like a mule. And still to this day, the M249 is more of a meme weapon. It's fun because it has a million rounds when extended, but it's not reliable enough to keep if you're playing to win. PUBG did this despite clear and overwhelming feedback from the player base that the M249 belonged in the care package, and it should be put back and reverted to its original godlike form. Unfortunately, PUBG ignored us, and little did we know that this was a major sign of things to come. Season 7 was right around the corner, and thank goodness Vikendi was coming back, and it was promised to be better than ever. And one thing I will say about the new Vikendi, it's awesome. But what we didn't know was going to be included with Season 7 was possibly the biggest gut punch PUBG has ever dealt: bots. Bold strategy by Tony here, shooting directly into the tree as he's next to it, and then getting away from the tree and standing out in the middle of the field. This is obviously a battle for the ages. These guys are just going at it, giving everything they have, leaving everything they have out on this field. And Tony's just making sure that no one's sneaking up on his right, just watching his right flank, just waiting for the right moment to snap and shoot. And that's what he does. He snaps onto his target, decided to switch to the barrel with the hollow sight, tired of being a show-off, Without a good reason, bots were added to every lobby for PUBG on console. They said they were implemented to bring along new players, but I'm still in the camp that they were mainly added for Google Stadia users. The bot implementation was managed in the worst possible way, and my enthusiasm for the game went from waning to absolute zero. They filled the lobbies a lot of times at an 80% clip until you hit a certain number of matches in the season, and unfortunately there was no way to avoid them. By far and away, bots killed the game for me. I made the decision that enough was enough and I was going to uninstall the game until there was a way to play without bots. Now, some 30 days after bots were introduced, PUBG gave us console peasants ranked mode. This was finally a way to play without the roaming trash cans in our matches, but it came with a few caveats. It was limited to 64 players max, you could only play 3 out of the 5 maps, and it was only squads. This was not the solution people were looking for. I could go on and on about how terrible the bots were implemented and how it changed PUBG in a lot of players' eyes, but I've already done that in a number of videos. And those videos are the main reason I stopped covering the game. What once was a passion project and a great time now became a chore. I was so frustrated with the game that I didn't want to play it and I didn't even want to talk about it. It's kind of hard to run a channel that focuses on a game if you can't stand said game. Throughout the years I've covered PUBG. I've given them the benefit of the doubt more times than not, and because of this I've been called a shill, a fanboy. I've been told that I was paid by PUBG to say certain things. Basically, you name it, people said it about me. But as soon as I started to speak my mind about the bots and how I think they could change them to improve the game, I was turned on by so many. The very same people that would constantly praise my work were now calling me a traitor and a turncoat, or a number of things that didn't make sense anyway. It was too much and I didn't want to make PUBG content anymore. It just wasn't worth it, so I didn't. My last PUBG video was over 95 days ago, and besides this one that I'm making right now, I don't see myself covering the game again. Unless PUBG 2 comes out on next gen, then I might get back into it. You never really know about these things. And you'll still see me playing PUBG every once in a while with my friend, but besides that, I'm done with the game. And honestly, I feel like I've been done since bots were introduced. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for everything I've gotten to experience because of PUBG, from this channel, to the many memories in-game, to playing and interacting with all you guys, but all good things have to come to an end at some point. And while I'll miss PUBG for sure, I've moved on. I've started covering Crossfire X, and I really do think it has a lot of potential. And there's one thing that's for sure, if I'm covering a game, it's because I love doing it. I am not doing this for the money, it's not my job. So if I'm going to put hours into a video for a few bucks of profit, it has to be fun and it has to be worth it. I didn't really plan on making this video at all. I was actually just cutting the grass and just thinking, and something popped into my head. What happened to PUBG? When did things go wrong? And when did my opinion on the game change? I was the #1 cheerleader rooting on the developers, and then all of a sudden, a switch flipped. So if you still enjoy the game, if you're still a hardcore PUBG player, you know what? I'm happy for you. I'm not trying to convince anyone that the game is trash and it's dead or anything like that. I just thought I'd give my angle on it, tell you why I've basically stopped covering PUBG, and where things went downhill for me. But either way, we're moving on. We're going to start covering Crossfire X. I'm hoping that we get some major news soon enough, and then we can actually start our journey on that game. To those that stuck around to the end of the video, thanks so much for watching. Whether it's the first video of mine you ever watched, or if you've been tuning in for a while, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of my content, and while you're down there, hit the like button if you enjoyed. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you later.